hours has come and gone. We have a very good program tonight for you, as we always try to assemble. And Clark McClellan will start things off tonight. For those of you who've been listening for some time, Clark has a fascinating background. He has served this country as a patriot, as a scientist with the Space Shuttle program. His book and website are called the Stargate Chronicles. It has to do with astronauts seeing things, having experiences that they don't normally talk about. Clark, with his background working in the shuttle program at a very high level, got to know these people and heard things and saw things and experienced things by talking and interacting with staff and astronauts and other scientists that he has decided to put them in a book. It's a remarkable story. It's available at lulu.com. If you click on Clark's website, you can go right there and pick it up. He's been on the program several times in the past. Let's find out. Are you there now, Clark?
I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you, too, and let's get going. I've got a lot to talk about.
All right. There is, of course, a great number of UFO videos on YouTube that were taken in and around the space station, around shuttle missions and so forth. Most people try to dismiss them as ice crystals and so forth, but when you simply watch them and study them, it's obvious that there's something going on there. All right, let's hitch up the team and move them out, Clark. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm going to come on tonight with the fifth moon mission that landed on the moon. Well,
Okay.
the fifth moon mission, but the fourth that landed there, 13, of course, went out around and came back, and I call that our most successful Apollo mission to the moon because we saved 3 lives.
Right.
This is about my friend, NASA astronaut and first NASCAR lunar rover car driver on the moon.
Okay.
He saw UFOs above the moon, and he saw crystal buildings. So we can get to that. Now,
now that's an obvious story that I've heard about, we've talked about in the past, and there have been representations of this story on the Internet. But I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. But go right ahead with this. This is very good.
He flew on Apollo 15 with Dave Scott and Al Warden. It was James Irwin, my friend from Pittsburgh. We were both born in the same city.
Uh-huh.
And he flew there, and let me say what we can get to now. He formed, when he came back, the High Flight Foundation in Colorado Springs, and then I met him again at the Philadelphia airport by sheer accident, Jeff. I mean, thousands of people, and I see his face, he sees mine, and we waved, and we sat down for a discussion.
Uh-huh.
What he told me at that discussion for 40 or so minutes is astounding, because he left the Temple University lecture. I was going in for a lecture at Temple myself that evening. So,
too funny.
Yeah.
Well, coincidences, they happen, but then sometimes there are other things at work, so that must have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, James Irwin.
That's right.
James Irwin. Not the most famous name amongst astronauts, but a name that is certainly right in the midst of it all. Pittsburgh. He knew you when you sat down with him at the airport?
I didn't meet him in Pittsburgh. I met him at Kennedy Space Center when we were working on the Apollo 10 preparation for that mission, the first to go out around the moon in 1968, I believe it was.
Right.
And my mind's getting a little bit... I'm 77 now, so I had to recall a hell of a lot of stuff here.
Well, you sound terrific, and as always. Now, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When you sat down with Jim, did he have any reservations? Was he concerned about talking to you about these things at all?
Well, he said, Clark, I know what you want to talk about, your favorite subject, UFOs. And we both smiled. I said, yes. He said, Clark, I can say certain things, but there are things I cannot because we were all hushed up about our mission by NASA and the DOD to shut up and not talk about things or lose their retirement, or maybe worse. I lost my retirement. I have nothing but Social Security to live on. And I'll be honestly frank about people who are listening. You cannot live on Social Security. And I tried. And I'm trying to help my daughter who's out of work. So that's the bad news. If people out there can help me by opening and reading my books on www.stargate-chronicles.com, I would appreciate that very much. My health is very bad now. I don't know how long I'm going to be around. I've got about, I'd say, maybe about 38 more chapters that I could release. I don't know if I'll live that long, though.
Well, you better. No checking out early, Clark. You got work to do.
I know that.
We've been friends a long time, and you have my highest admiration and esteem. So let's get this stuff out there.
I have a health problem with my left leg from sugar now, and the pain from the wounds I have are so excruciating I can't sleep at night. They're that bad. I'm not lying, please.
No, Clark, for those of you listening, I've known Clark for a long time. He does not exaggerate. And
no, I don't.
No.
Anyway, what you got a question for?
Well, go ahead and tell us when
Okay.
James Irwin sat down with you and he asked you the obvious question, what do you want to talk about? I think I know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the conversation. How did it
Okay.
proceed?
Well, he said, I'll talk about some things, Clark, but there are some I cannot. And I said, I understand, Jim.
And what year was this again, Clark, approximately?
His flight was in 1971,
All right.
and they landed at the Apennine area of the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and it's mountainous.
And you're meeting with him?
I was meeting with him at an airport luncheon,
What year?
1979.
Okay.
He did his lecture at Temple, and I did one that year there.
Okay. 8 years difference from the time it happened.
Yeah.
Now, was he afraid? Was he simply under national security and NASA stricture?
Well, he had already retired, Jeff,
Mhm.
and he had fears. He had fears because there were threats of discontinuing their health benefits, their retirement, like happened to me.
Same
And
thing.
He said, I can't chance that, Clark, with my family. And I said, I understand that, Jim. I said, I will never say a thing about this unless you or I die. Of course,
Okay,
if I
right.
died, I couldn't say anything.
That would be a tough trick.
Yeah, he knew what I meant.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, he knew I was NICAP director at the Kennedy Space Center, National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomena. And he said, okay, UFOs, Clark. I said, what do you want to know? He said, what do you want to know, my good friend? So I asked him, I heard an up and down link from a commentary while the Launch Control Center at Kennedy Space Center, Pad 39, and David Scott or somebody was indicating that they were seeing unknown objects overhead. And Jim said that's true. He verified that. He said that the unknown objects were very swift and they were very tiny. I said, tiny? He said, yeah, maybe about a foot or two long. I said, my God, that sounds like Gulliver's Travels. He said, well, God makes creatures in every way and shape and form. And I said, amen.
Wow. Well, now, Jim Irwin, for those of you who don't know, did pass in 1991.
Yeah, he passed away.
He was a very handsome fellow.
Oh, he was.
He looked like a movie star in some ways.
He was a wonderful person and very, very honest.
Yeah. Well, they all are. Most all of them are. I mean, look, there's a YouTube video out there in which somebody approached a number of the astronauts asking them if they would simply swear on the Bible that they, the deal.
Yeah.
And some of them none of them would do it. That they didn't see anything up there. They wouldn't make that statement.
Yeah. No, they backed off because when I asked Jim, do you know of other astronauts who have seen things like this? He said, yes, Clark, but I will not name them. So probably each of the Apollo missions to the moon had sightings of something or another strange, maybe even E.T., Apollo 11.
Well, we've seen the photo of the large fellow standing in the open bay of the space shuttle.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was our last program. I think that was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I did see that 8 to 9 foot tall creature. I can't say it was an alien. I don't know. Then I saw a craft hovering behind our shuttle. An 8 to 9 foot creature with two small NASA astronauts receiving orders from this giant.
Well, we have a photo of that too.
Yeah, there's a photo on my website.
Amazing. Welcome back. Another 21 hours has come and gone. We have a very good program tonight for you, as we always try to assemble. And Clark McClellan will start things off tonight. For those of you who've been listening for some time, Clark has a fascinating background. He has served this country as a patriot, as a scientist with the Space Shuttle program. His book and website are called the Stargate Chronicles. It has to do with astronauts seeing things, having experiences that they don't normally talk about. Clark, with his background working in the shuttle program at a very high level, got to know these people and heard things and saw things and experienced things by talking and interacting with staff and astronauts and other scientists that he has decided to put them in a book. It's a remarkable story. It's available at lulu.com. If you click on Clark's website, you can go right there and pick it up. He's been on the program several times in the past. Let's find out. Are you there now, Clark?
I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you, too, and let's get going. I've got a lot to talk about.
All right. There is, of course, a great number of UFO videos on YouTube that were taken in and around the space station, around shuttle missions and so forth. Most people try to dismiss them as ice crystals and